As a classical Bharatanatyam performer and choreographer, it means a lot to share with this forum my thoughts on creativity within the confines of classicism, and we will have an interactive session at the end of it where I would be most delighted to discuss this particular aspect of creativity within classical arts with all of you. As you're all aware, we need to talk about this whole thing about creativity because our classical music and dance forms trace their origin back to many centuries, and some of them, like Bharatanatyam, are believed to have had their origin from the Almighty himself. And these art forms have survived through several ages, the age of temples, royal courts, and now are part of the performing stage. The profile of people who perform arts like Bharatanatyam has also changed over the years. What used to be the preserve of the traditional performing communities then went to professional artists, but today is now performed by men and women from all walks of life, all nationalities, and indeed even by people like me who have alternate professions but pursue the art just for its own sake. So along with this, the scope and the landscape of the art form has also evolved, and current breed of artists like myself have been extremely concerned about reaching out to modern audiences and about experimenting and innovating. It may seem a bit of a paradox to talk about creativity and tradition in the same breath, and one may even wonder how one can be experimental in such a tradition-bound art form such as Bharatanatyam. But in reality, all our classical dance and music forms are many-splendored, many-layered, and extremely subtle. There is an inherent freedom that our classical arts give to each artist to innovate and experiment. But though, as a knowledgeable Rasika, anybody can enjoy a Bharatanatyam recital even with no innovation, no creativity, or just the same often repeated pieces, we also cannot deny that today's audiences are a little different. There are many people in the audience who are not very well versed about dance, and there are a lot of younger people who feel that they would like to develop a taste for the classical arts, but they feel that we're always dancing only to the same thing, either bhakti related pieces, or we are just dancing to romantic themes where the heroine is sending messages of love to her friend and on, which really doesn't hold the attention to a very impatient generation where all this really seems to be so far removed from reality. So art should reach out, should evolve for that purpose, otherwise it has to lose out to more contemporary diversions. So present day artists, including me, are very conscious that apart from this, we also need to reach out to the audiences. We cannot let them just sit and politely enjoy a dance recital. Art should not be isolated like an ivory tower, beautiful but remote, but it should actually reflect and touch and move the audience. Audiences should not just come and watch the physical beauty or the adornments or the technical virtuosity and grace of the dancer. They should laugh, cry, burn in anger, identify completely with what is being depicted on stage, and for that we do need to look at themes which have social relevance and impact today, as well as the traditional pieces which are being performed. This is an interactive session, so I don't want to keep talking, but I thought that since I have said that there is a whole movement today by younger and modern artists of Bharatanatyam to look at the repertoire and try to look at creative pieces which are little contemporary, which reach out to the audience, which the audience can relate to, I thought I will very briefly show you two examples of what I really mean. Two of my recent choreographies that I believe reflect the fact that Bharatanatyam can be a highly effective tool to communicate not just the spiritual, not just the romantic, but many other themes that do have relevance today. Working mothers, I'm sure many of you in the audience are working mothers. We do need, and I'm one too, we do need to be efficient at home and at the workplace too, and both are equally fulfilling but equally demanding. We all know this only too well. apart from having to hear the refrain, "Amma, don't go," every morning, working moms are actually on double duty. It is a challenge for any woman to balance work and home, grappling with the commute, with the traffic snarls, with the bus route, the heat, the work pressure in a metro every single day when they go to work and they come back. But the beautiful thing in this whole thing is that a working mom may find it a big strain, but then she never complains. Most of them balance home and work beautifully, deriving great joy and satisfaction from both. I have tried to present this aspect through a poem which is named as Avasara Talatu, which means the urgent lullaby, depicting the working mothers of our metros in our nation. And I enjoyed presenting it and creating it because it was something so real, so relevant, and it was something that reflected the mindset of everyone, including myself. And it was actually a tribute to the mothers of today who have a career but still never compromise on considering their child as their greatest priority. I would like to present a very brief excerpt from this to give you a flavor of what I performed. sense for me because when I performed it in Chennai and in other cities, people did come up and say that they did identify with this, and it reminded them of their own experiences of leaving their children home and going home to work, going to office to work, coming back and maintaining the work and family life balance. Let me conclude with another piece that I performed recently. Now this actually is a very brief piece which I choreographed because of all our concern, especially my concern, which is related to the growing violence, religious intolerance and terrorism that is happening around us today, not only in our country but all over the world, and many of the emotions, but also about the world at large. And looming highest on our concerns is indeed the growing intolerance that we have towards each other's religions and faiths, which is the root cause of most of the frightening violence and disharmony around us. So I would like to conclude by presenting this one. You might find the lyrics a little familiar, but it is most apt, and it is my plea that we put an end to religious intolerance, and it ends with a prayer to the Almighty to bestow good sense and wisdom on all of us to make the world a tolerant and peaceful haven. Thank you.
மனதோடு மனம் இங்கு பகை கொள்வதேனோ, மலரோடு மலரிங்கு மகிழ்ந்தாடும் போது, மனதோடு மனம் இங்கு பகை கொள்வதேனோ, மதம் என்னும் மதம் ஓயட்டும், தேசம் மலர் மீது துயில் கொள்ளட்டும், மதம் என்னும் மதம் ஓயட்டும், தேசம் மலர் மீது துயில் கொள்ளட்டும், வழிகின்ற கண்ணீரில் நிறமில்லையே, உதிரத்தின் நிறம் இங்கு வேறில்லையே, வழிகின்ற கண்ணீரில் நிறமில்லையே, உதிரத்தின் நிறம்